Well, it appears I rather ruined the big reveal moment by unwisely titling this video, but if you are a master in the art of avoiding spoilers and somehow managed not to look at the title before clicking this video, indeed my next series of projects will focus around a historical recreation of a Lady Sherlock Holmes. If you've watched any of these videos, you probably know that I am trash for Sherlock Holmes and every ounce of aesthetic relating to our favorite consulting detective, and so I only needed the littlest essence of suggestion from my friend Noelle to agree to do a Lady Holmes and Watson duo for Costume College this year. Noelle, by the way, has just started up a sewing channel of her own, which I'll link down in the description below. I suspect she'll have some Lady Watson adventures happening over there if you're curious about the other half of this endeavor. This video, by the way, is most kindly sponsored by a little detective mystery game entitled June's Journey, which you can download for yourself through the link in the description, and which I shall tell you more about in just a bit. The first step in design for all of this was to pick the period. Since Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes saga was published from 1887 to 1927, that's a significant range of historical styles to choose from. Noelle is all about the bustle life, so she decided immediately to go with the 1887-88 look for Watson. I, however, will have to fly across the country to get to Costume College and do not fancy packing a bustle in my already doomed to be overweight luggage. In any case, I wasn't entirely convinced that Sherlock, even in lady form, would have been much a fan of the bustle life. She strikes me as more of a rational dress kind of girl, no? Although I'm personally extremely partial to the turn of the century / Edwardian period myself, I decided it would be nice if the two of us were at least vaguely close in time period, so I decided to put Lady Sherlock in something 1892-ish. This way I can get away with a nice travel-friendly bustle pad for silhouette. I also happen to have a republished booklet of 1891 Butterick pattern engravings in which one of the designs actually depicts a literal Lady Sherlock outfit, so I decided it was destiny. Now, if only that pattern still exists somewhere in the world. So I'm just drawing out the completed outfit here with a deerstalker, ulster coat, waistcoat, and a sensible walking skirt underneath. A real one this time, no mere adaptation, but in order to achieve a convincing silhouette, lots of additional layers will be involved. These will include, of course, a corset, bustle pad, and a pair of combinations to go underneath it all, which you may or may not be following along with the process of over on my Instagram page currently. Yes, I will have video diaries for all of these pieces, but these things do take time, so real-time anecdotes are over on the Instagram if you care for that sort of thing. I will also need a shirtwaist and petticoat, but I already have not necessarily original practice, but reproductions in my wardrobe that I can use, so I may forego making new ones just to save a bit on time. Also, yes, technically I ought to make her a jacket to go over her waistcoat, but as it probably won't be seen under the coat and will be indoors, in California, in the summer. Again, I think I'll save that project for a different time. As is my method, I'm going to attempt to recreate all of the layers of this ensemble using the techniques that I think would have been employed within the period. Usually, if you're familiar with my work, this means lots and lots of hand-stitched seams. However, as this is the late 19th century, I'm really excited to get to use my antique Singer, which the serial number dates to 1892. Exactly the period I'm working in, so again, it is destiny. Of course, there will still probably be lots of handwork involved. I've been reading loads of contemporary tailoring and needlework manuals to try and work out which seams seem to have been done by machine and which by hand, and what stitches would have been used, and the appropriate fabric widths, and how the pieces were cut, and precisely how to hold your hand whilst you're stitching. Basically, there is so much contemporary research available by this period, and I'm so not used to historical sources actually giving me instructions on how to do things, so needless to say, I am thrilled, and I have a lot of research to share, so prepare thyself. And for those of you interested in the menswear side of things, this isn't pretending to be menswear in any way, but as there's lots of tailoring involved in these garments, a lot of the techniques for cutting and stitching the clothes will be the same as those used on late 19th century menswear. In fact, one of the sources I've been reading for the waistcoat and ulster coat is written by a tailor on the subject of cutting these traditionally male garments for women, so that should maybe provide some interesting insight until I can pick up a proper menswear project. Padded doublets, paned hose, dandy tailcoats. One day you shall be mine. Another thing I should touch upon is the issue of corsetry. Obviously, this is an essential part of any period of dress in order to get anything to sit right, but for medical reasons I shall soon explain, I am unable to bend myself into a symmetrical corset, so there's a bit of exploring and experimenting with solving things historically. And I've just gotten x-rays involved, so it's going to be a bit of a journey. So yes, a little side quest on adapting period corsetry is also still to come. So I hope you are maybe as excited about all of this as I am, but if for any reason late 19th century isn't your jam, I will also have a couple of other projects and additional content that I will be working on intermittently in the probably months that I will also be working on this project. Also, I have now thoroughly planned out my Friday evening ensemble for Costume College, but have yet to convince myself that my gala gown plot is in any way a good idea. Honestly, at this rate, I may just show up in my combinations, but we shall see. Speaking of fierce lady detectives, our sponsor for this video, and subsequently this project, is just that. June's Journey is a mobile app, a hidden objects mystery game set in the late 1920s in my merry hometown of New York City, and follows the story of June, who is embarking on a journey to figure out who killed her sister. It's part interactive story and part puzzle game that is both relaxing and engaging, and it's free. Personally, I always like a good puzzle to keep my mind occupied on stressful days or in particularly anxious situations such as long travel days. So of course I was quite taken with this one, partly because of the historical setting, but also because the artwork is just really colorful and beautiful to look at. These observation-based activities are actually also really good practice for what we like to call in dress history slow looking, or learning to look deeply and carefully at the details of an object as well as the wider, more general picture in order to more fully understand it. It's all just detective work, this business of uncovering and reviving the past. Or at least I like to think so because it makes my job sound cool. I shall put a link to June's Journey down in the description box below if you are also looking for a pleasant little diversion and would like to join me on this journey, as well as some of the art supply things that I was using in this video because I have a feeling there will be questions about that. So that's all I've got for today, and now I think a little trip to the garment district is in order. Fancy joining me on that?